Among all the members of the powerful Trump dynasty, one name lingers most in silence, wrapped in curiosity and speculation. Barron Trump. Unlike his siblings Ivanka Don Jr. and Eric, who grew up in the public eye, delivering speeches, giving interviews, and building careers under constant attention, Barron has remained almost invisible. While Ivanka dazzled with elegance, Don Jr. sharpened his political voice, and Eric displayed unwavering loyalty to the family empire. Barron took a different path, the path of shadows, silence, and distance. From the moment Donald Trump entered the White House in 2017, Barron was thrust into a world beyond imagination for someone his age. Yet instead of being shaped into a public figure, he was shielded by Melania, by his family, and perhaps by deliberate strategy. There were no campaign speeches, no press conferences, and no social media posts. Only rare glimpses remained: a boy walking quietly beside his parents, taller than most of his peers, a silent figure whose very absence sparked even greater curiosity. And this silence carries meaning. In the realm of power, where every move is calculated, absence can be just as powerful as presence. Is the Trump family preserving Barron as their hidden secret card, a figure destined to emerge only when the time is right? Or is he simply a teenager granted the rare privilege of growing up privately, shielded from the relentless storm of politics and media? This is where our story begins, with Barron Trump, the youngest and most enigmatic heir of a dynasty built on visibility and dominance, yet choosing the safety of shadows. Shadows that in time may reveal a destiny greater than anyone dares to expect. From the moment Donald Trump entered the White House in 2017, Barron was thrust into a world beyond imagination for someone his age. Yet instead of being shaped into a public figure, he was shielded by Melania, by his family, and perhaps Barron Trump's childhood was unlike that of any other presidential child in modern American history. While most first children are gradually introduced to the public, whether through photographs, public school events, or carefully staged White House appearances, Melania Trump made a deliberate choice to shield her son. She understood better than anyone the ruthless nature of the media and the relentless curiosity surrounding the Trump name. For her, Barron's well-being meant more than publicity or political advantage. She stood firm in drawing a protective circle around her son, ensuring that while his father was consumed by politics, Barron could still hold on to fragments of a normal childhood. But that childhood was anything but ordinary. Growing up inside the White House from 2017, Barron lived under an intense level of public fascination. Each rare photograph sparked discussions online. Each brief appearance was magnified into speculation about his personality, his education, even his future role in the Trump legacy. For every step he took in public, there seemed to be 1,000 eyes watching, waiting, interpreting. And yet, instead of exposure, the strategy was silence, fewer images, fewer words, and almost no insight into his inner life. In protecting Barron from the chaos, Melania created a paradox: the less people saw of him, the more curious they became. This paradox of privacy became Barron's defining feature. His absence from headlines made him more intriguing than if he had been a regular presence in the media. In a family where visibility often equals power, Barron's invisibility became his strength. He became not only the youngest Trump, but also the most mysterious and enigma, carefully guarded by his mother, growing up in the shadow of one of the world's most controversial presidencies. And perhaps in that silence, Melania was planting the seeds of a different kind of influence for her son, not the noise of public exposure, but the quiet power of anticipation. From the very beginning, Barron Trump has stood out in ways that are impossible to ignore. His towering height alone sets him apart. By his mid-teens, he was already taller than his father, casting an unexpected presence that makes him impossible to overlook in any public appearance. But it is not just about physical stature, it is the aura he carries. Even in silence, there is something commanding about him, a sense of gravity that makes people pay attention without him ever having to say a word. Unlike his siblings who rely on speeches and media to assert influence, Barron possesses an unspoken presence that speaks volumes. Part of this distinction comes from the education and upbringing Melania curated for him. Barron has attended elite private schools surrounded by privilege, but also international diversity. Raised in a bilingual household with Slovenian from his mother and English from his father, Barron has been exposed to multiple languages and cultures from a young age. Combined with the global spotlight of his father's presidency, his worldview is already broader than most young men of his age. While other teenagers worry about exams and sports, Barron has lived through international diplomacy, media storms, and the complexities of being part of one of the most polarizing families in the world. This makes Barron's journey even more intriguing when compared to the heirs of other political dynasties. The Kennedys, the Bushes, even the Clintons all raised their children to be public figures, early giving them roles in campaigns or public office as soon as they were ready. Barron, on the other hand, has been kept in the shadows, yet he embodies the same qualities, stature, education, poise, that mark a future leader. The contrast is striking. While others seek visibility to secure their legacy, Barron's mystery itself has become his defining legacy, and perhaps that difference will one day set him apart as the most unexpected heir of them all. The Trump dynasty has always operated like a deck of carefully chosen cards, with each child stepping into a role that reflects both personality and strategy. Ivanka Trump, polished and articulate, became the golden daughter, the face of sophistication and diplomacy, bridging her father's brashness with a softer, marketable image. Donald Trump Jr., outspoken and combative, has taken on the role of warrior, rallying conservative voices and keeping the Trump brand alive in the world of politics. Eric Trump, less flashy but loyal and steady, works behind the scenes to ensure the family business remains strong, embodying the card of reliability. Even Tiffany, often overlooked, has carved her place as the quieter outsider, present when needed, but never fully immersed in the machinery of power. Each of these roles is visible, defined, and deliberate. Together, they form a picture of a dynasty where every move is calculated, every public appearance meant to strengthen the Trump legacy. Yet within this deck, one card remains face down: Barron Trump. Unlike his siblings, he has not yet been assigned a role. There are no speeches, no business ventures, no official appearances beyond necessity. His life is the question mark in a family otherwise filled with exclamation points. Perhaps this is by design. In the world of strategy, the card left unplayed can often be the most powerful. Barron's undefined role makes him the most unpredictable, and in politics, unpredictability is a weapon. By keeping him in the shadows, the family preserves his potential for the future, whether in business, politics, or an entirely different path. While his siblings play their roles openly, Barron's silence holds a weight of its own, leaving the world to wonder, is he the ace the Trump dynasty is waiting to reveal at the perfect moment? Speculation about Barron Trump's future has always been a subject of fascination precisely because nothing has been defined. Some imagine him stepping into politics as Trump 2.0, a younger, taller, and perhaps more polished version of his father. With his commanding presence, elite education, and the Trump name behind him, Barron already carries the ingredients of a political figure who could continue the dynasty's influence. The idea of him one day standing on a debate stage representing a new generation of Trump politics is both intriguing and unsettling for those who either revere or resist the family legacy. Others envision a very different path, one rooted not in politics, but in the power of media and technology. Barron, raised in an era where digital influence rivals political office, may choose to wield his power not through laws and campaigns, but through platforms and innovation. As media continues to shape culture and politics alike, a Trump heir who dominates that realm could hold influence every bit as strong as a senator or president. The thought of Barron leading in this sphere, free from the baggage of direct political battles, would offer the family a new frontier of dominance. And yet there remains a third possibility: that Barron will reject both the stage of politics and the arena of media, choosing instead a life of privacy, wealth, and mystery. After all, his silence so far has already made him the most intriguing member of the dynasty. Perhaps his greatest strength will be in never fully revealing his hand, becoming a Trump who holds power not by speaking, but by remaining unknowable. Whether as a political heir, a media mogul, or a figure who thrives in the shadows, Barron Trump represents the one future card the world has yet to see played. Carrying the Trump name is both a crown and a burden. For Barron, the youngest heir of this towering dynasty, the legacy he inherits is unlike that of any ordinary family. On one hand, the Trump name opens doors few could ever dream of: powerful networks, immense wealth, and an instant spotlight that guarantees attention wherever he goes. On the other hand, that same name carries a heavy weight of expectation, comparison, and judgment. The world doesn't just see Barron as himself, It sees him through the lens of his father, Donald Trump, a man who dominated headlines, divided nations, and etched his mark in political history. The benefits are undeniable. Barron stands to inherit not only financial stability, but also a loyal base of millions who admire and follow the Trump brand. His path, should he choose politics or business, would already be paved with influence. He doesn't need to introduce himself. The Trump identity does that for him. Cameras will always be ready to capture his steps. Interviews will be waiting the moment he chooses to speak, and opportunities will appear as if pre-written into his destiny. Yet privilege comes hand in hand with relentless scrutiny. For every admirer, there are critics waiting to compare him to his father, to measure whether Barron can ever match or escape the towering shadow cast by Donald Trump. This is the paradox of legacy. It can elevate him to unimaginable heights, but it can also confine him within expectations that aren't his own. Every choice Barron makes, from career paths to public statements, will inevitably be framed as either continuing or rejecting his father's legacy. And in that tension lies the question that defines his journey. Will Barron embrace the Trump name as a foundation to build upon, or will he forge a new identity beyond it, carving his own mark in history while still carrying the weight of one of the most polarizing names of our time? If Donald Trump's legacy is built on volume, dominance, and spectacle, Melania Trump's influence has always been the opposite: quiet, deliberate, and understated. This contrast is nowhere more evident than in her role as a mother. Behind the walls of their private residences, away from the relentless eyes of the media, Melania has been carefully shaping Barron's image, and perhaps his future. While the world speculates about his silence, it may in fact be the result of her intentional strategy to allow her son to grow without the noise and chaos that defined Donald Trump's rise. Melania has often been described as fiercely protective of Barron, insisting that he live a childhood different from the one her husband would have chosen. She emphasizes refinement over brashness, discretion over publicity, and substance over performance. This vision is reflected in Barron's education at elite private schools, his multilingual exposure to Slovenian and French, and the international environments that surround him. Melania's cosmopolitan background, rooted in European culture and fashion, has given Barron a perspective that feels more global than traditionally American. It is as if she is preparing him not just to be another Trump, but to be something greater, more independent, and perhaps less predictable. In many ways, Melania's silent strategy is an answer to the question of legacy. Where Donald sees the value of brand visibility and dominance, Melania seems to see the importance of privacy, elegance, and distance. She may envision a future where Barron does not replicate his father's polarizing path, but instead carves out a refined identity of his own, whether in politics, business, or an entirely different arena. If so, then the quiet years of Barron's youth are not an accident. They are an investment, a preparation for a destiny yet to be revealed. In today's world where public figures are defined by constant visibility and endless commentary, Barron Trump stands apart. His power lies not in what he says or does publicly, but in what he withholds. Every rare appearance, whether stepping out of a motorcade, walking beside his mother, or being captured in a fleeting photograph, becomes an event in itself, sparking headlines and setting social media abuzz. People notice his extraordinary height, his solemn expression, and the aura of distance he carries. The scarcity of these moments makes them all the more powerful, as if each glimpse is a clue in a larger puzzle the public longs to solve. This fascination extends deeply into online culture. Memes circulate comparing Barron to fictional princes, future leaders, or characters from dystopian novels. Fans speculate about his personality, his education, and what role he might play in the Trump dynasty's future. Admiration for his quiet composure is mixed with curiosity, and curiosity in turn fuels an almost mythic presence. In a digital age dominated by oversharing, Barron's silence feels radical, transforming him into an enigma people cannot look away from. Paradoxically, saying nothing has given Barron more influence than speaking could. While his siblings build their reputations through interviews, books, and political speeches, Barron's mystique allows the public to project their own ideas onto him. He can be imagined as anything: a future politician, a business magnate, or a private intellectual who chooses never to step into the limelight. The less he reveals, the more powerful his image becomes. Mystery in Barron's case is not a weakness, but a weapon, one that may prove more effective than words in shaping his destiny. The Trump brand has never been just about buildings, businesses, or even politics. It is about identity, spectacle, and influence. For years, Donald Trump embodied its raw energy, while Ivanka Don Jr. and Eric carried different aspects of the family name into public life. Yet as time moves forward, a question emerges: could Barron be the one to carry Trumpism into a new generation? At just the beginning of adulthood, he represents a blank canvas onto which supporters and critics alike project their hopes and fears. His youth alone makes him a potential bridge to audiences that his father has struggled to reach: Gen Z and millennials. This generational link is more significant than it appears. While Donald Trump built his power on television rallies and traditional media, Barron has grown up in the digital age, surrounded by memes, online culture, and global communication. His very silence has already created an online following that thrives on speculation, edits, and admiration. Should Barron choose to step forward, he could embody a modernized version of Trumpism, one that resonates with younger audiences, not through fiery speeches, but through presence, image, and the mystique that already surrounds him. For the Trump dynasty, Barron is more than just the youngest heir. He is a symbol of continuity. Just as political families like the Kennedys or the Bushes cultivated their legacies through generations, Barron represents the possibility of the Trump name outliving its founder, adapting and surviving in a changing world. Whether he embraces politics, media, or an entirely different field, his role as the living thread that connects the Trump legacy to the future cannot be ignored. He is perhaps the quiet promise that the Trump brand is far from finished. As the story of the Trump dynasty continues to unfold, Barron Trump remains its most enigmatic figure. Unlike his siblings, who have already defined themselves in the public eye, Barron is still a blank canvas, an heir who embodies possibility rather than certainty. His silence, his absence from political theater, and his carefully protected youth have preserved an aura of mystery that only deepens with time. In a family where visibility is everything, Barron's greatest strength may be the fact that he has yet to reveal himself. It is this unknown that fuels his power. Because Barron has not yet chosen a path, the public projects countless futures onto him: a political heir who could carry Trumpism into a new era, a media magnate shaped by the digital age, or perhaps an entirely different figure who decides to live privately, untouched by the weight of legacy. Each scenario adds to the fascination, making him not just Donald Trump's youngest son, but a symbol of potential, someone whose destiny remains unwritten and therefore limitless. And so Barron's silence becomes the most powerful card of all. It leaves the world questioning, waiting, and imagining. Perhaps one day, when the moment is right, he will step forward to play his role in history. Or perhaps he will choose to remain in the shadows, defining strength through restraint. The open question remains: will Barron Trump eventually reveal himself as the Trump family's true hidden card? Or will he remain the mystery that keeps the dynasty alive in the imagination of generations to come? What if the quietest Trump heir, Barron, was never meant to stay silent forever? What if the young man once hidden behind the towering figure of his father one day stepped into the spotlight on his own terms? Would he follow the traditional Trump path of business, building skyscrapers and empires? Or would he break the mold, choosing politics, technology, or even global diplomacy as his stage? What if Barron became the unexpected voice of a new generation in the Trump dynasty, sharper, more modern, more in tune with the digital age than his predecessors? Could he rise as the one who rebrands the Trump legacy for the 21st century? Or perhaps, what if his greatest power is not in politics at all, but in shaping culture, media, or an entirely new field where the Trump name has never reached before? And here is the most intriguing question: what if Barron is the family's true secret card, carefully protected, waiting for the right moment to be played? If so, what role will history assign him? A quiet heir living in luxury and mystery, or a powerful figure who will one day command the world's attention? These questions don't have answers yet, and that's exactly why Barron Trump fascinates millions. His future is a blank page, and every possibility feels both believable and extraordinary. So what do you think? Could Barron rise as the most surprising Trump of all? Or will he choose a life away from the storm of politics and power? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share your opinion. And if you want to keep exploring the untold stories the hidden possibilities and the future of America's most talked about family, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Together, we'll uncover the mysteries step by step.